Okay, so we're starting the recording now. So I'm going to press continue. I'm consenting to be recorded. Welcome to this Talent and Education Network event. I'm Bernie Dagenet with the Mainline Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome our panelists who are here with us today to speak to our students who are with us today, and thank Cheney University is with us, Lincoln University is with us, College Possible, some grads from that, people who've been in that program, Philadelphia Futures Program, the Mastery Charter School is with us today, some of the students who went through Mastery Charter Schools in Philadelphia, as well as Krista Ray. Really happy to have them with us, and the Philadelphia Youth Network with this Work Ready program as well. So these are some of the individuals who are with us today. Lissa will tell me if I missed anybody when she's adding things into the chat. We will be moving into a meeting portion of this event in a little while. Westchester University has some people here with us. That's great, Magnum. Yeah, and feel free to do that and let us know where it is you're from in the chat. It's great to see that interaction. We will be putting a link to the meeting in a little while. Once we finish the panel discussion, we'll be moving into a meeting discussion format that'll be more interactive, and we love to hear from each of you, have you all talk to us and ask questions. So getting on with our panel discussion today, I'm really pleased to have with us three individuals. We have John Schulman, who's with Comcast, obviously Comcast, NBC Universal, major employer in the Philadelphia region, and technology services. And Robin Allen is here from Vertex, and actually was very excited to learn some news that Robin would not share with you probably, but I will, is that her aunt has a book coming out, and you probably heard of her aunt because she was featured in Hidden Figures, the movie. Her name's Katherine Johnson, and her book called My Remarkable Journey is coming out. I mentioned that to you all, the students in the room, because I think that's incredibly inspiring. I mean, this is an individual who made such a difference in the world, and would encourage you to look for that story. Finding inspiration, reading a book. Yeah, it is cool. Finding inspiration, reading a book is a great way to find inspiration. I think that's one of the things we hope to do today, is give you a little bit of inspiration. And really happy also to have with us today Erica Fosu. She is with Vanguard, and Vanguard has been a big supporter of the Talent Education Network from the beginning, as has Vertex, which is Robin Allen's company. Vertex is a corporate tax software company that helps company pay taxes worldwide, figure out how to pay the right, and keep them all legal, keep them all straight. That company went public last summer, which is really exciting. So, and then Vanguard, maybe you've heard of Vanguard, obviously financial services firm, major employer, 10,000 employees in Malvern, as well as a couple of other locations throughout the country. You'll hear more about Vanguard and Comcast and Vertex. I'm going to start out by asking everyone to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about the types of opportunity, first their job at their company, and then the types of opportunities that they have within each of their companies. I'm going to ask Erica if you would kick us off, please.
Sure. Welcome, everyone. Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Erica Fosu. I do work at Vanguard as a diversity recruiting specialist, started my career in 2015. And since then, I've had a wide variety of different roles, about 8 different roles. So Vanguard has a really strong rotational culture. I'm actually hailing from Charlotte, North Carolina, in our office down here, working from home, obviously. Vanguard has 3 locations: Malvern, Pennsylvania, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Scottsdale, Arizona. And in regards to our opportunities, we have a wide variety of internships and full-time. For our internship and full-time opportunities, they are in advice, accounting, technology, investment management, and general business. We accept all majors for most of our opportunities, especially in the business side of the company. And in regards to our internships, we do offer 10-week-long internships that are paid over the summer. And yes, we will be opening up our 2022 opportunities coming this June. So be on the lookout. I will post our career site on to the chat. So let me know if you have any questions.
So this is a great opportunity to establish an initial connection with Vanguard through Erica, and to be in a position where when those opportunities open up, you have some sort of a connection. You know what to do to make sure you're considered for them. Let's turn to John Schulman. Same question at Comcast.
Great, thanks, Bernie. Hi, everyone. John Schulman. I'm with Comcast, NBC Universal, based out of Philadelphia, although I'm here in South Philadelphia at home. At Comcast, we have lots of different internships and entry-level positions across all of our business units. I focus primarily on the tech space, filling over about 80 tech internships a year. This summer, we'll have about 150 or so internships at our headquarters. And then we also have another 100 plus internships in our different divisions in the Central and West Division. So obviously, we're a rather large company with offices all over the United States. And there's lots of opportunities for intern positions, entry-level positions, in a wide variety of different disciplines and areas of study.
Great. Thanks, John. Thanks for being with us. Robin, same question to you, please.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Robin Allen. I'm the Senior Director, Program Management within Corporate IT at Vertex. It's actually a new role as of day 3. So it's been quite interesting. Vertex, as Bernie shared, with what we do around corporate tax. And I always summarize it in a way to say that we help our customers with their tax compliance challenges. We are based in King of Prussia, our headquarters. We do have offices globally. As far as what to do as far as roles and things are concerned, so let's talk about entry level, and I'll put some information also in the chat. I'm not the recruiter, so I'm filling in. So I'm going to try to do this in the best way I can. And I'm going to be honest, Erica and John kind of set the bar a little high for me. So we'll have to see how we do here. Would have been nice if I went first.
It'll be okay, Robin. It'll be okay.
So certainly visiting from an entry level role perspective, I'll share the Vertex's website. We do have opportunities. You can set up an alert just to keep an eye when those roles are available. I'll also share with you the recruiter to work with. So I'll share Noelle's contact information so you can kind of connect with her directly. As far as internships, kind of similar to what Erica and John has described, start looking now, don't wait, certainly by the fall. Vertex has about 40 or so each summer paid, much like Vanguard, where there's spots available in all areas of the organization, from engineering, so computer, we build software, marketing, sales, customer success, finance, product management. So highly would definitely say to everyone, keep an eye, stay connected to Noelle. She'll be the one that will help out and kind of get you going in the right direction.
Great. And that's Noelle Ross, who's with University Relations at Vertex, and we can help connect you with her. Just by being at this event, I can tell you we will be sharing your names and your resumes. If you send your resumes to Alyssa Hilsey, then we can make sure that we're sharing your resumes with the companies, and some companies that are not even with us today will be hearing about you as a result of your participation. So that's great. That's a great way to start kicking things off. We know that there are students who were at some of these programs last year who are with some of the companies in the room now. I actually was just hearing this week about an individual who was at Vertex who went through one of those rotations and is still with the company, has been hired. So there's success stories out of being in a room with employers that we're happy to share. I'm going to talk about what I think are 4 key steps to landing that internship, or for that matter, landing an entry-level job. And it starts with a resume that helps the recruiters, people who are evaluating that resume, to see your experience in its best light. We'll talk about what that means. Certainly connections and networking. You're doing that today. To our students who are with us, you are doing that today by being here. You are having the opportunity to network virtually with some employers. You'll be able to do it much more effectively in the meeting room as we go into meeting rooms, and we'll have some breakouts in there. And then the interviewing process. And then after the interview, following up on that interview and what have you learned and what does it all mean, depending on how that played out. So I'm going to ask Erica if she would start talking about some things that she looks for when you're evaluating a resume. Erica, would you please?
Yeah, certainly. And I'll keep it short because I know we got to cut right at 5, but I listed out some bullet points that I think that are very important for you all to consider as you're working on your resume, is to keep it at 1 page. I think that is a common practice, but I see occasional 2 or 3 pages. Put your education and GPA at the top. There was actually a research done where it says that recruiters spend on average about 30 to 45 seconds on a resume trying to see the main information that enables them to understand if you are qualified for the position. So we really would love to see what year you're graduating or expected to graduate, because that lets us classify you into a freshman, senior, type of classification to see which roles you're most eligible for. If you're working in your resume in Word, definitely make sure you convert it to a PDF before sending it out to employers, because you don't want the formatting to be messed up when an employer opens up your resume. So PDF definitely secures that formatting. In regards to how often you should upload your resume, I would say anytime you have a new experience that is something that you want to add to your talk track, to your story, and allow an employer or anyone to learn about you, definitely add it once a semester or once a school year, depending on how many new activities happen. So if you haven't done so already, spend some time to reflect about what you were involved in this past school year and add that onto your resume. Also, I realized that last year COVID impacted students' abilities to get involved with internships and summer jobs, and even school organizations. So if you have any relevant school projects, though, class projects in which you contributed to, you were a part of a team, and that project led to some type of outcome, right? Whatever that goal of that project is, definitely create a section on your resume to highlight the variety of projects that might be relevant for your field, right? You might not have a lot of relevant work experience, but I would say definitely add that there if you need something to fill up your resume. And then one of my biggest points is leverage the Career Center at your school. That's something that I did not do until my senior year in college, and I regretted it. But most importantly, your tuition dollars literally pay for them to support you, right? So you're paying for a service that you're probably not even using correctly. So go into the office. They will sit in there and help you with your resume, mock interviewing, anything that you can think of as it relates to your career. They're a wonderful resource. And then my last point is to use past or present tense verbs depending on the activities, right? So if you're talking about previous organizations or roles that you were involved in, past tense verbs to describe your involvements, like managed, utilized, right? And then present tense verbs for current activities. So, and I can post all of that in the chat.
Great. I think I have actually, I'm going to press. I couldn't help it. I was writing them down. Current activities, use present tense. I think I have most of it down. You can feel free to edit it, Erica. There it is. So that's great. That's great. Thanks very much. Let's move on. And I think that the other thing about the resume, as you get more experience, is that you may want to tailor it a little bit to the opening that you're applying for. Like you have all these different things that are in there, but is the thing that jumps out for that opportunity, for that employer, is that highlighted as much as it could be? So, I've been working for a long time. If I were to do a resume now, I would probably, everything I would apply for the resume would look different than the one I would apply for something before. So, but I think that applies also for your resumes to think that way. John, I'm going to ask you, actually, I'm going to go to Robin to talk about the value of connections and networking, one of the things that we're doing today. How has that made a difference in your life, Robin, just as an example?
Yeah, so as an example, actually, the last 2 jobs that I've been offered actually came through my network, came through connections with people. One was through a connection with a company that I worked with and bought services from. The other actually came through a connection of a couple of individuals that we went to school together. We did our masters together. So it didn't come through the traditional ways, and it's just proving that always being aware. Today, you all have an opportunity to get connected to a group of people. Erica and John are great connections because of their roles, but everyone on this call is a connection that you can make. And I want to just remind everyone, it's more than just going on LinkedIn and saying I'm connected to Erica, which she will probably accept the invite, but also, nurturing that. It's a relationship that you want to maintain. So we all get busy. I tell myself I'm busy, but just connecting with people periodically helps to maintain those relationships. So it's a conversation, it's a check-in. It may not be that you're looking for a job, but it's a relationship. right, that you're building, so that if you do at some point need to find a different opportunity or something happens, or connecting to someone if you're trying to get into an organization, you have someone that you kind of help you to get you connected maybe to the right person if they're not the right person. But yeah, for me, it was great. I mean, I didn't go the path of Indeed.com or any of those things, or LinkedIn is a good place, but it came through connections and past relationships that were very different, that helped me to get a job.
That's great. And that's not to say that those traditional applying, being one of the many people applying,
Absolutely.
is because that also gets you practice, as
Correct.
well. So I think
Yeah.
it all works
Yep.
together. The other thing I would add to what Robin said was that you're getting connected right now through this event. So if you send someone an email or a LinkedIn invitation now, you can say, tomorrow afternoon, let's say tomorrow, in the next couple of days,
Mhm.
you can say, I was on this call with you a few days ago, and I would just like to keep in touch with you moving forward. I'd like to find out about, let's say, Vanguard's opportunities in the fall. I'd like to be in touch with you, because you're no longer contacting someone out of the blue without any relevant tie. You have a tie from this event today that we want you to utilize. Going to ask you, John, to handle the big topic of interviewing. And of course, it's something that is being done, used to be done in person. I remember that when it used to be done in person.
Yeah, I mean, interviewing has certainly changed in a virtual environment. We're doing right now all of our interviews primarily virtually or on video. So there's a couple of things you want to prepare for that as well. Make sure your environment is set up for success, that you have a good Wi-Fi connection, that your audio is working, right? So you don't have to deal with any of those issues during the interview, because that's just going to be a hindrance to the reason why you're there in the first place. But a couple of pieces of information I share about interviews, and I've done in the last year or so, probably close to 200 and 250 interviews. The first thing I think is one of the most important things I can stress is that the people that I've seen struggle the most with interviews are people who have gotten inside their own head, and they're extremely nervous, and they talk over themselves. They get really nervous and confused, and they really struggle. And it's only because they're so worked up. The thing you should remember with an interview, it's a conversation. It's an exchange of information between you and the person that you're interviewing with, or the people you're interviewing with. So just remember that, and take every opportunity for an interview as a learning experience, whether you get the job or you don't, right? Something you can take out of each experience. That's really helpful, so you don't psych yourself up too much. That's really important. The first thing I would say is, before the interview, do your research. Come prepared. Try to figure out the role that you're interviewing for, and try to anticipate questions that might be asked about the role and how your skill set match up with the job description or the role that they're speaking about. I guarantee they're going to ask about how your skills or situation that will be relevant to the work that you would be doing. So, be prepared for those type of questions. The internet's a great place to do a lot of research. You can look up behavioral questions. You can look at interview questions and just kind of practice, and you can run through different questions you might get. There's so much out there that you can really review and look at, which can be really helpful. Come prepared with questions. I've done interviews, and if someone says to me, I don't have any questions, that's a big red flag for me. It shows they're not as interested. They didn't do really research. They don't seem to care as much about the job as other people I've interviewed. And then for those type of questions, I always say, come prepared with 3 questions. One about the job itself, the role, one about the interviewer, about their career and about their journey, and then one about the company in general. And tie it back to something that you're really interested in. I love when someone says, I'm really passionate about, my growth and my professional development. What are some opportunities for professional development? That's really important to me, right? So you can tie it back to something that's really important to you. And that's something that's really great. And the last 2 things I'll mention is that you try to demonstrate your passion for the company and the role. Skills and certain things that are tactile can be taught. We can teach skills. We can teach you how to code. We can teach you a lot of different things. But if you're not showing passion or a reason why you want this job, then it's gonna be really hard for us to picture you in that position. So you don't have to be super animated and super gung-ho, but if you're able to articulate your passion and your why behind you want this role, that'll be really helpful. And the last thing I'll mention is that authenticity is really important to, I would say, almost all employers. It's certainly important to us at Comcast. We want everyone to bring their authentic self to the workplace and bring who they are. So don't come to the interview with some made up version of yourself that you think that the employer wants to hear about. No, we want to hear about you and who you are and what makes you special. So I think if you do those type of things, you'll set yourself up for success. And even if you don't get the job, you'll learn something from it, and it'll be a learning experience for you.
That's great. That's great, John. Good stuff. And you mentioned the word passion. I want to touch on that. So if passion comes up a lot in the work world these days, and it's other ways of thinking of it. I think, synonyms might be enthusiasm, showing a high level of interest, showing some energy. These are all things that start to tip towards passion. But part of passion over a long time in a job is showing up every day and trying hard and believing in what you're doing, trying to make it happen, trying to push, make things happen, for your company. That's one of the ways that you can express. And in this career search, you're making things happen for yourself. So that's part of your passion, your enthusiasm that you're bringing to these conversations. The other piece, and I think that one thing I want to emphasize that John said was that idea of practice. And we aren't born knowing how to do this, right? We don't even know how to talk. We have to learn everything. So you have to learn how to interview as well. And so I think that that's something with practice you get more comfortable with. If you can get someone to role play with you, or practicing even by yourself, where I'm a big believer in chunks. So if I'm talking about my college education, that's a chunk for me. If I was talking about my sporting activities or my personal interests, that's a chunk. I can practice those chunks. If I talk about relationships and how I think about relationships and why they're important to me, and how I work on them in order to be successful, that would be a chunk that I could be able to talk about. So thinking about those different things, extracurricular activities obviously could be a chunk. Some involvement in a club where you have expressed some leadership capabilities in some way could be a great chunk. So thinking about all these and being able to interchange them at any point, you can talk for a minute about this one topic, and you've got 6 or 8 different things maybe you've developed that you've practiced, so that when John asks you that question, you have something that you can specifically talk about. Like, what are you interested in? You've got an answer to that. Why are you interested in Comcast? You've got an answer to that. That's a chunk that you could have practiced prior as well. Even if he doesn't ask about it and you like it, you can offer it to him. You'll have the opportunity to offer him that information. The other thing I'll tell you, so I've assigned myself to address the question of interview follow-up and learnings before we move into the Zoom meeting portion. And I'll ask our team to please put the link back up, if you could, please. So we have the link handy to where we'll be going in the meeting room. I believe these panelists will all be coming with us, so you'll get a chance to interact with them some more. We do encourage you to reach out to people individually on the chat if you'd like to ask them a question. That's a fine thing to do on here, or post a question for everyone. In that aftermath, I'm a big believer that if you're sending a note, for example, which you need to do after a meeting, you definitely want to send a note. You want that to have a little substance. So certainly it thanks the person for their time, but it pulls out some substance out of the interview. They're looking, I'll use John as an example again. John is looking for people to come in to help solve some problems, help do something. And if you can show your knowledge of that in a follow-up, your understanding of that and how you think you might be able to help. So there's got to be some specificity to make it stand out from another email that might just say, thank you, really appreciate it, I'm interested, would be to provide a little more substance in there. This is what I heard. This is where I think I could fit in. And then the last thing I want to say, and I think this is really important, it's an easy thing to say, but it is so important, is that ultimately the no's that you receive in this process, and a no could be somebody not responding if you reach out to them, or a no could be you had an interview and you're not going to go to the next level in the interview process. It feels a little bit like rejection, if you can turn your mind around to say, the only thing that matters about that no is what I can learn from it, then that's a very powerful concept. The no really doesn't matter. The yes is what matters. You're looking for one opportunity. You're looking for one company to say yes, to give you that first opportunity or your second job, wherever it is, your first professional career-oriented job. You just need the one yes. So the no is only important because there's probably possibly something you could learn from it. And once that's done, if you can shake that off and not let it bother you too much, then you're empowered to go on to the next opportunity. I used to work with a woman who she would say, I'm okay when people say no to me. She was in sales. She was doing hardcore sales on the phone and trying to get people to buy subscriptions to a newspaper, a challenging job. And she would say, I'm okay with the no's because every no brings me one step closer to a yes. What she was doing was really challenging. And her attitude really empowered her to not get rattled by the rejections, because they're all opportunities to learn, and you're looking for that one yes. So if you don't, it's okay to be upset for a day or a half day or something like that. If you feel that that's real, you feel it. But then you got to come back charging and just say, really, in the grand scheme of my life, that no is not going to really be a very big deal. Kind of try to put it in perspective. Again, an easy thing to say, for me to say, but if you're able to get your head around it and do it, it's an empowering piece of advice, I do believe. I strongly believe that. So with that, I'm going to encourage people, if you would like to come into invite everyone, I hope everyone 100% will come with us into Zoom meeting. I want to thank our panelists. Thank you, Erica, Robin, and John. Great information. We'll get a chance to interact with you in the Zoom meeting. So I believe one of our team members is in the webinar here with us, and we'll stay here and answer any questions you may have if you're having trouble moving over. But in the chat, you will see a link, the top link, join Zoom meeting. And I'll encourage everyone to go ahead and click on that now, and we'll meet you in the meeting room. Thanks again to our panelists. We'll see you over there. Here's Kristen. Okay, so Kristen, if anyone's having any trouble, Kristen should be able to help you through to get to the other room. Just come back here if you have to.
You got it.
Thanks, Kristen.
You got it, Bernie. See you in a couple minutes.
All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen DeLulo with the Chamber. If you're having any trouble, just please put a note in the chat to me. I can email you the link. I can do a couple different things to help you get over. So just follow the link over on the side, and I'll be here in case anyone has any questions. So we have about 10 more people here in our participants area with us. So if you're having any trouble, please let me know. If not, just click the link in the chat and it'll move you over to our meeting portion. We'll have some breakout rooms with our sponsors and our employers and help you out with some one-on-one questions. Okay, we have just a couple more people. Again, if you're having any trouble, you can also raise your hand or ask a question and I can help you as well that way.